Oh, it's live from Texas, and it's 50 degrees. You guys must think I missed my life path as being a climatologist, but honest to God, you have no idea. It's 50 degrees.
Yes, we're in that zone too. It's nice.
Mm-hmm. And it's lovely in the afternoon. You can walk down the street, not sweat yourself into a puddle. It's just lovely.
It's a lot better than all that heat.
Oh yeah.
The body kind of feels all the changes though. Every time the weather changes, it's like your joints all wake up again.
Oh no. Well, mine never stopped. But when I got my knees replaced, my knees, I could tell when it was going to rain an hour or two before the weather hit. And I was living in a high rise after I got them fixed. And I walked out, I was in a room that I couldn't see out the windows. And I walked into the living room, which had windows on three sides. And I walked out and it was pouring rain. I mean, it was just, and I was like, it's raining. How come I didn't know it was raining? It's because my knees didn't hurt anymore. I lost my little weather radar in my legs. Gladly, let me tell you, gladly.
uh, Funny. Tell you,
So,
you were just met. It was a good topic that which you know about with the migrants you were talking about.
yeah, apparently New York's having a fit because Texas is loading up busloads of people with, and they're lying to the people telling them they're going there to get jobs, first of all, which is not necessarily true, although a lot of them have been hired up. But where they really need them is down here with the agricultural crops. Florida, the same thing. But they're dumping them in New York. And I was talking to a friend who used to live in New York City, and he said his friends are just screaming about it because they said the state wasn't ready for it, and the feds are not there helping them the way they thought they would, and their people are begging on the streets, and these children who have no place to go are running up and down the streets. And as I reminded him, it sounds a whole lot like when his he's a second generation immigrant, and I said sounds a lot like New York when the Irish and the Italians came over. If you've ever seen pictures of those days. But the thing is that Texas says, oh, well, they're getting help up there. They're getting federal help. Well, the feds offered to help here, but the state wouldn't accept it. Yeah, there's some in Chicago too. And it's making all part. And the thing is, if it's when they tried sending them to places like Martha's Vineyard, and they were all able to get together, and all the people who ended up staying in Martha's Vineyards have jobs now, and they're getting settled. And it was the stupidest place for these guys. This is not knowing American history. Martha's Vineyard was started after the part they were sending them to was started after the Civil War, actually before, by free Africans who created this place they could go because the North was in many ways segregated too. But that's the area that they actually shipped the people to. So that's part of their history. So they took care of them and then they distributed them back to other places. A lot of the people who cross the border have someone here that they can go to if they handle them in the right way. But we don't handle them. This is the whole thing about not having a sensible border policy. Because I have friends that work with the legal groups in Texas that try to help. And they said they won't even let them get near them so I can send them to the relative who's willing to take them. They just pump them out of buses, or they sent some to California too, I believe. So anyway, between that and Greg Abbott wants to build a wall between New Mexico and Texas.
Yeah, it's like the Texas funding doesn't need to do anything else besides waste money with those kind of things instead of helping with housing or create a better system.
Or
Let's go-
schools. Our
Or school.
schools are like, depending on which chart you look at, we're 45 or lower on all the national ratings for the public schools, but they've spent $6.5 billion and trying to control the borders. Imagine if they poured that money into the kids in the schools or for families in the state. And they have a surplus besides doing that, and they're spending nothing on what really helps people. Oh yeah, they've ordered that they're not giving them any money, but every school district has to have an armed person uh, for doing it. What's his reason? He they passed a law that the police could stop a woman driving west towards New Mexico, and they could insist that she prove she wasn't pregnant. And that immediately, even the Texas Supreme Court said no, 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 no. So I think that I think he's doing it to make a statement, but that's the closest place to get an abortion if you want to have control of your own body. So
Yeah, crazy people.
mhm.
You know, put money to the schools, pay your teachers. But who wants to be a teacher in this climate?
I did a party Friday night. Yeah, Friday night. It was a girl's 24th birthday party, and so all the people that were there were her age, 24, 23, 24 and up. And I read two teachers who were there, and they were both going to get out because they said it's unreal. They said, what you hear in the news is just the tip of the iceberg. And they're sending in the most draconian principles. And uh, one teacher said she got in trouble for reporting a kid she thought was in trouble in his family. He seemed neglected, he seemed abused. And she got in trouble for calling in the social workers. And it used to be the law actually is if you see that kind of neglect, you're supposed to turn them in. So that's a hard job. I did it 1 year and I would never do it again. Yep. Well, I read for both of those young women, and one's going to go, she has a line into working with educational materials, which interests her greatly. And the other one says, she looks out and she sees how miserable her friends are in their jobs too. And considering the age they were, it was a very weird set of readings because, um, yeah, I hope so too, Pegasus. But what I saw for these young people, they're falling into exactly the same trap when I was, and now mind you, that was 20 years, that was 50 years ago when I was their age. But reading them, it was more like, on their personal life, it was like reading high schoolers because they still haven't matched off and married. But that was kind of odd. But as far as their beginning jobs, most of them well, I don't think the people who hired them really lied to them, but I think they were finishing school and it's going to be my first great job. I met two or three of them that were really happy with their choices, but the rest of them were already getting restless and looking around, which I was doing at their age.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, got to talk to them about that. It was very interesting night. The guys, their boyfriends were really shocked. They go, "How can you look at those cards and see what that says?" Explain it to them, Scott, in 5 minutes or less. Yes, Texas is using libraries as detention centers, but that's not new. When I was in junior high and I was the scourge of my junior high, my father had too much money for them to send me home or throw me out of school. So I spent science class and part of an English class in the 2 years, seventh and eighth grade, in the library. And it was fascinating because the librarian really liked me. And she said, go read whatever you want. So I'd go read all these journals and things that were in there. It was a better part of my education at that point. I'm sure you were all shocked to find out I was a difficult child.
Yeah, it's unreal the way these Republican MAGA types, whatever, are creating such a controversial subject about everything.
Well,
Teachers, librarians, doctors leaving. It's just like
also the book bans, the banned books. There's a whole national campaign against them, and LeVar Burton from Reading Rainbows heading a lot of events, and every single state's having events about the banned books, and they're telling you the truth that the press isn't like. In Florida, over 90% of the books got banned on the complaints of 3 parents. Not even representing a group, just 3 parents. They were so afraid of running afoul. And there's bookstores here that have a section now called banned books, where you can go find the books that they're trying to ban. So,
I've seen some reports half the time they didn't even read the books.
no, they don't even know what it's about. They quizzed this one woman and she walked out of the interview because she had the first idea. And they found out that they're all kind of aligned with some saying mothers for doing things right, which is automatically you should read that mothers for doing things wrong.
You know that Walter Masterson is? He does MAGA trolling. I think he's
okay.
I think he might be part of the Good Liars guys.
Mm-hmm.
So he went to one of these book banning. I think it was in Pennsylvania. He went to a book banning school board meeting. Talk, and he got in there to talk, and he talked about, well, maybe we should ban this book, and he read passages out of the Bible.
Oh yeah, the Bible's rife with everything.
And all these grandmas and grandpas in there are just looking like, that's in the Bible, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
He trolls them really well. They'll go to Trump rallies and interview people and show how ridiculous they are, try to give them facts, and they just look stunned. They're like, oh, this is true.
Well, they don't. That goes back to when I was a kid. I used to play pool at Anita's house, and Anita's parents were lapsed Catholics. And one of the books they had in their house was "You Let Your Children Read This Book." And it's some guy he had to have done this in the late 50s, early 60s. And you'd open it up and he'd quote "Moms for Liberty." That's what it called. Assholes with cast. That's true. Or Minivan Taliban. Yep.
Unreal.
But yeah, you just go through there, and there on every page you'd have a Bible story, and you'd say, and always was at the end after you read this horrible, miserable, difficult stuff. You let your children read this book. They just need to take all the red stuff where Jesus talked and pull that out and leave out the other stuff, especially Leviticus. They could do a whole lot without Leviticus.
I honestly would not worry about Trump.
I'm not saying don't worry about him. If he gets on the ballot, if their name's on the ballot, there's a potential they can get in, one way or another. But I think enough, even states, even in Texas, they haven't been able to break it because the voting is done on a county level. I mean, that's the local authority for it. Texas has a suit. They've been trying to take over counties and run the elections as a state, and they can't do it. I mean, they're getting cut down every time they turn around. And look in Alabama, they didn't let them. They just said, Supreme Court said, redraw this. It's not fair. Sent it back to Alabama, and the legislature sat on their hands, and the Supreme Court had enough of it, and they sent it to a master, and they said, this is your map. And if you don't do it, then your votes won't count at all. Maybe that'll get rid of Tommy Tuberville.
Yeah, I was reading with Arizona has a law, even if the 14th Amendment came through, they can't take him off if he ends up being the nominee, they can't take him off unless 2 other states do it too.
If we get to that point, 2 other states will be doing it.
So it's just like they couldn't do it themselves, according to what the Secretary of State was saying in Arizona, because of what they have on the books.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the law, guys. It's really, if you've ever been around the system for any reason, even if it's just because someone didn't think you ran your business right, or they ripped you off and you tried to get it back from them, laws are not simple, and laws are full of all sorts of dodgy little places. But sometimes when you really need the law, you really need the law,
But we always say polls are fake. They don't matter. I guarantee you, if 45 is on the ballot, he'll lose by 50 million.
Oh, yeah.
There's no way the sane people in the world are going to vote for this man with so many indictments, going through court cases.
Well, they're not going to vote. They're not voting for Republicans. Look at the special elections. I can tell you, this person used to do this. We would look at what was going on in the off seasons, and we could see when people aren't looking and they're not, MSNBC's not stopping everything for a night to look at the numbers. And they weren't even then around at that time. It was just networks. But people are electing Democrats in districts that were Trump's before. Now, that doesn't happen if they have a modicum of control. I love Nicole Wallace, but I've almost quit watching Deadline White House because all she does is play their message over and over again. And meanwhile, Joe Biden's in really finally negotiating down our drug prices and really making a difference for people. Matter of fact, getting to the party Friday night, I ran into one of the, it's a problem, but it's a pleasant one. They were tearing up a road in Dallas called Mockingbird Lane, and I got off the toll road. And this road is jam-packed, 3 a.m, rush hour, it doesn't matter. This road's jam-packed. And we got off, and they've cut it up so that there's only 2 lanes on it. And everything is being diverted around into the little streets around it. I don't think I've ever seen them work on that part of Mockingbird Lane. And I would have a reference because I lived right next to it for 26 years. And I never saw them dig it up. And they finally are fixing it. And they're fixing it right all the way down to the ground. And when I was talking to my Lyft driver, I said, well, that's what happens when you only fix your infrastructure once every 50 years. When you really finally do it, you really finally have to do it.
Hilarious. Oh yeah, I was talking to a few meat managers on my deliveries Friday.
Mm-hmm.
They have full unemployment now. They have people begging for any kind of work. So this is just a certain area I was in Milwaukee, but they're turning people away. So there must be a lot of immigrants looking for work, or because they said they were non-English speaking, which didn't help. But it was so weird how much 9 months changes.
Oh yeah,
because there was another high profile. It's kind of a ritzier area, nicer homes. Looks more wealthy. They almost shut down their meat department down because they couldn't find help. And then all of a sudden, they got a flood of people came, and they got a full crew of good people now.
Well, that's where in Texas, community colleges actually have trade schools attached to them so people can go learn it. It's something you have to learn or decide to get into. And, you can't have somebody teaching people at the same time they're trying to make sure your meat looks like it's supposed to look. But there just are not enough people. My kids all went to college, but my oldest son, when he got out, between doing political gigs, he worked in construction because he'd worked with me when he was a child. And he knows how to sheetrock, and he knows how to paint, and he knows how to do all that stuff. And he said, I often can't find a job in politics. I can always find a job in the trades.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to talk about the giant blister on the boil on the pimple Israelis and what's going on over there?
Sure. Well, many questions on that.
Do you want to throw cards on it? Because I have my own personal opinions.
Yeah, I do too. More paper, please. What's up with the wall? You mean down the border with Biden and everything?
Yep. Biden's supposed to be fixing parts of the wall that Trump put up that are falling down. And there's a lot of Dems who are not happy about it. But that there's no other way to use the border money, and it gives them a chance to go down there and work on the infrastructure around that. So I don't know what all of the deal is on it. Those walls, it's a 13-foot wall. You get a 14-foot ladder. I mean,
yeah, I guess that's what my understanding is that this the money's there to build it, and we can't move the money elsewhere without Congress support. So he has to build the wall
Mm.
to use that money, whatever.
Okay. Which one are we going with? Were they sucker punched or was Netanyahu? Bibi. That's much easier than his name. Was he behind it? Which one are we going with?
Hey, Book B. Over. Let's see.
I'll vote for Bibi. Asking Bibi.
Make it easier at first.
Yeah.
Because
wasn't that what Jared was supposed to have done? Was
Middle East,
yeah,
Middle East peace, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh well,
you did a great job.
Yeah. Oh.
The attack.
Oh God, did he? Is he? He feels like it gives him strength. He actually, I don't know that he's paying them to be there, but he's certainly not paying for them to not be there. This is my I'm out of here card. And I think he was pressured that he was going to be, well, he's had millions of people in the streets for months against him. And he didn't want it to be the end of his time. So he went to doing the militant thing and trying to rebuild out of that. So I don't think he went over and said, Hamas, come on over here. But I think the Israeli people are smart enough to know that his neglect of dealing with issues and just trying to keep himself as dictator. I mean, I don't blame them.
Yeah, now they declared war.
Mm-hmm.
How you going to prosecute a bad guy when you're in a wartime situation?
I know.
I do have coordination and offers of multiple sources about this. It's more than Bibi.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the Wheel of Fortune, my Duchess, and Page of Cups. So it's like the
Mm-hmm.
Empress Star, Wheel of Fortune, World, and an offer. So I think with the World feeling, it involves more than one, just Bibi. You know, like Turkey and Russia. This is coordinated, I think.
Oh yeah.
And here's some offers with the Page of Cups, linking together. I think he didn't want to lose power here.
That's
so
why
more offers of money, and he was worried about an old crap moment and losing power and losing his abundance. And then we have the Chariot here. So this could be missiles, movement of things, loss of life. And the Magician. This was manifested for a desired purpose.
Okay. Let's see if it's going to last longer than 3 months. Because the other story behind this is Hamas is running the government that's for the Palestinians, but the group that's doing the main part of the fighting, and I forget what they're called, but they don't want it. They've said, don't put us in position of government. We just want to go blow them away. So the Israelis, and they're fighting out of the areas that the Israelis used to occupy, and then they withdrew. And that's where the big battles are coming out of that border. Let's see. Last 3 months. It could last longer than 3 months easily. People are not dealing with this in a workmanship manner. And the Queen of Swords that can be anybody who's fighting and wants to have their own way no matter what. The money is there to keep Hamas and all of them armed and whatever. And really, it's going to be a choice of the world of what it wants to do about it. And right now, the world does not know what to do about it. That's the card of, I'm trying to figure out what my defenses should be, but I'm not really sure.
I got a lot of aces coming out here. Like,
You,
wow. 3 out of the 4 aces are coming. I think this is going to take a while.
but could those aces be Netanyahu going away or people turning from him?
I got the King of Swords feeling like a dictator.
Mm-hmm.
Ace of Swords is like the truth, clarity,
Mm-hmm.
and the Page of Cups together is offers and linking things together. Dreamer, free spirit. So that doesn't. It feels like a victory for him here, being a dictator.
Mm-hmm.
Prosperity, energy of corruption, like Queen of Swords, and so it's like it just feels long term this way because there's too many prosperity cards here and powerful energies. And in the end, I have like my Sun card, which is May,
Mm-hmm.
could be a long time, Queen of Swords, and Ace of Cups. So these are like powerful cards for the long term, the way I'm feeling it. I mean, they're all, and they're actually a lot of good cards, which makes no sense with the concept.
It could. I'm going to ask if it's going to lead to Netanyahu being out sooner rather than later, because that could lead to good cups, good cards.
Weird read with the cards, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, for a
War.
what?
For a war.
Yeah, I mean, because like every time I try to recheck, they always come out the same.
Yeah, well, no, he's not leaving anytime soon. So, and I could show you that, but it's depressing, so I won't.
Well, when you declare war,
You have to keep your government in it, though. You have to keep your government in it, and this is what the Israelis were afraid of, with them being so divided. Him on his little perch and the people out in the streets. Last place you're going to want to go and protest is out in the streets if people are lobbing missiles across at you.
So horrible. These people, innocent lives dying, and this makes you sad. And someone on the bad side would be funding the Hamas people.
Hamas, yeah.
Hamas terrorists.
Hummus is a thing you make with chickpeas.
You're right.
Hamas is political.
Hamas. Trump will never get reelected. I do not see this at all. I'd be shocked if he's on the ballot. He's just got so much crap going on.
Mm-hmm.
I think by the time it all comes down, common sense is going to come ahead.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a crazy man trying to stay in power. My guys do not show him on the ballot.
No.
I just don't see it.
Trump gives me a headache. Can we talk? But we can talk about another person who gives me a headache.
Who's that?
Leonard Leo.
He's denying orders to
turn over documents.
Where was that? Oh, Debo. There it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we think so. Spirits. Russia and Iran, Turkey. I think they're all involved supplying weapons and make that happen. Federal Senator Leonard Leo is being investigated.
Okay. Leonard's going to get a Celtic cross. Don't look at his situation.
Oh, the DC AG. Guess I didn't read anything deep about that, but I know it was a DC AG.
Oh, he's trying to hang loose. I got the hangman in the current position.
I know, right, Deb? Yeah, don't. Let's not give 45 any power. He's a clown show, and he's going nowhere with all his lawsuits and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Files.
Okay, what I got is it's financial crimes that he did, and there's a group diligently working to get him. That's where he sits today. This is his history card. He's a bad, bad, bad man. He's not a nice person.
Mm-hmm.
And his way of fighting this is I'm just going to see if I can wait them out. But he can't. He's going to be pulled out of his little retreat where he's hiding. They've got stuff on him that can go after him. And his hope or fear is that someone's going to come forward and speak for him. But I see he's going to get tied up big time with a dark-haired, sharp-tongued woman, and that could be Jenny Thomas. This could be another way of going after the Supreme Court.
Ooh.
And they're not going to be kind to him when they come after him. They're going to come after him for everything. It's not from a heart seeking justice. It's from a heart that's angry. And I'd be interested in who's leading the prosecution, because I see a woman in his future who's going to open up about him and going to push it forward. And this is not a good reading for Leonard. Leonard thought he'd be able to hide in the Four of Swords, pull away, hide. But what he got in the near future is he's going to get exposed.
Yeah, that's the current energy I got too with hiding.
Mm-hmm.
If
you do bad things, you're not going to come out and put them on the lawn.
Yeah. So in the past year, I got all the darkness and partnerships with him funneling money where he wasn't supposed to, and that's kind of obvious. That's what's been going on. Two of cups, 5 of wands, and 6 of coins. So that money funneling is where, and there's partnership, but it was dark. So right now he's in the anxiety mode of hiding out. Kind of with 8 of wands is like the energy. He's trying to hide out from that energy of being, investigated, right? So he's got anxiety about it. He doesn't want to show and doesn't want to expose things, but the government's going to win here. The government's going to win. 6 of Swords, Hierophant, and the 2 of Coins. They're going to get what they need. So
yeah, he was shuffling a lot.
He can run and hide all he wants. The only woman energy I got was the Empress on the bottom of the deck. So there's some powerful aspects coming after him, and he will lose. So I have Emperor, Lovers, the Sun, and 3 of Cups in the end. The darkness and it's like all these connections are coming to light, and there's going to be a toasting of cups at the end after all of this is exposed. So he can't run forever. I think he's going to have to come in. There's prosecutions. There's awful lot of major arcana in this show.
Well,
darkness is going to be exposed with him. He ain't going to win.
Sheldon Whitehouse has been following him around for years before I think Leonard Leo realized he was really looking at him, because he was looking at all those guys before January 6th. That group of troopers.
Yeah, and this pretty much all started because some good reporters found connections with Clarence Thomas.
I know. Yeah, Clarence Thomas is sort of the guiding light of dark. Debbie Joyce, I'm sorry about your cat. Her 12-year-old cat crossed the Rainbow Bridge this morning.
Oh, that's right. I did see that. I was going to mention that.
And apparently, if you listen to Cash Peters yesterday, he expects today to be the day that Olive goes across.
Oh, I did see that too,
yeah. And I've got a 14-year-old cat, so I'm very sensitive to this, but she's fat and happy, and as long as the kittens leave her alone, she's fine.
Wouldn't that be funny if Lena Hobb is the one that brings 45 down?
Yeah, we all kept seeing this woman bringing him down, and we had no idea he was going to hire her for that very purpose.
Such incompetence, because he likes pretty women around him. Lordy.
I believe I agree with you, Karen, Louise. I don't know which one you have up now, but chaos and bickering benefits Putin and the oligarchs and all of the other dictators that are in the world. So, and somebody wants to know how you get guided missiles into the Palestinians. Got them probably through the back door from Egypt, and one box at a time. They just get enough of them. It doesn't take but a couple that really you can aim to kill 600 people. I mean, that's the horror of those things.
Let's look on promotions and everything. I guess there's other Republican senators blocking other promotions too, like J.D. Vance and someone else is blocking. Maybe it's Cruz. I can't remember.
Oh, it's Cruz. I saw an article about it. Everybody goes, run, run, run. We've got 3 good candidates in the Democratic primary to run against them. Any of them. Well, to tell you the truth, Mickey Mouse would be better than Ted Cruz. But yeah, we've got some good
candidates. Yeah, Rand Paul's blocking some things too.
Really? They're lifting their little heads after January 6th? How brave of them.
The tower falls out.
Oh, good. Well, Tommy Tuberville doesn't even live in the state he represents. Now, in Texas, you can be a congressman in a district you don't live in because some of our districts are so sparsely populated. But they don't let you run if you're from, they won't let a guy out of Oklahoma run for a Texas seat. So.
Yeah, I see random articles popping up. It's like many of these states don't even have Democratic people running.
That was true. They're doing a much better job this time of finding the right people. The problem was getting them to run out there. You have to decide that your personal safety is going to be okay and your families. Quite honestly, the most horrible thought I had was when I was looking ahead at things and how everybody keeps saying, when are they going to gag Trump? When are they going to stop Trump? Something horrible is going to happen. I think one of those whack jobs is going to kill a child that's related to a person working against Trump, and that's going to do it. Isn't that horrible? So I did a prayer that no child would be sacrificed that way. But these clowns, trust me, they don't care who they're shooting. You think the kids that were teenagers with no brains and big guns shot things up. These people have bigger guns and less brains. But let's see what's going to happen to Tuberville.
It's mostly state houses that I was seeing, like Missouri.
Oh, that's true. They're so gerrymandered, you know, why would you put your assets in it? But they're doing it here. We have had we have a state house representative who's a Republican in Richardson, and she's Asian, and she came in because it's a huge Asian population up there. And for a couple of times, nobody ran against her because they just thought they couldn't. Up pops this young woman who graduated from law school from SMU. She was Miss Texas. She's Asian, and she's extremely well-spoken and very attractive and very intelligent. And she's run against her. And for the first time in 6 years, I saw the Republican candidate. She's actually hosting an event of how to get the most out of your schools. And she's done nothing for her people up there. She just sat there collecting their votes. And now she's got some real competition. So I think it's going to be younger people who are going to take it on because they have fewer encumbrances. But let's see what's happened to Tommy. I got a whole lot of nothing. I got a whole lot of everybody saying, oh my God, what do we do about him? He's following the rules and we can't break the rules. And why the hell not? They could vote to stop this. And they better, because the military can't put up with it too much longer.
It just feels like something's going to happen that I have no clue what's going to happen, but I think it has something to do with things going around the world.
Well, with the chain of command, if they're holding a seat that's the Atlantic chain of command or the Mediterranean, we got a war in there now. We can't have the substitute teacher in. We need the person who's supposed to be doing it.
There might be something that happens around the world. There's going to be a Ten of Swords and a change with the Knight of Wands.
Mm-hmm.
So it may be conflicts that go on that he's forced by his GOP buddies to stop it. They can't. There's a change coming at some point. Some higher heads or force him to stop the nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, something like that. But it always feels like something happens that pushes them to stop the block or something like that.
Yeah, I got the Chariot moving on, and I got the Senate wanting to be freed from being imprisoned. That's the Eight of Swords. And as much as they don't want to do it, I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to come together because, especially with us going to war now, being involved with the war, we're not going to war, but now we got 2 wars on the books.
I mean, there's troops in that area doing work. There was something about some kind of protection our Marines or Army did in Syria the other day I was reading. So we have troops in small amounts in the areas that need leadership. I guess I'm not sure if it's true, but I keep seeing reports that the Russian fleet moved out of the Black Sea. Have you heard anything like that?
Yeah, because and it was not well reported in our country because it's not. But the Ukrainians blew up their command center in Crimea. Mm-hmm. And so they had to get them out because they had no way to protect them.
I've seen the bridge is blown up, and the Kerch Bridge is blown up in a few places.
Yeah, that's the one that they blew up on Putin's birthday, and when they televised it, they played "Happy Birthday" to him.
It got worse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks, Linda. Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was,
You can't keep track. I mean, I remember when I was young, and all we had was one war to watch in Vietnam, the surrogate war that we were fighting with Russia and China, and it was so confusing to keep up with the moving pieces then, and that was slow news. You found out a week later what really happened, and it was just. And we've got press that, there was that story I told Scott about this morning. There's a thing called Florida Politics, which is, it's like an email kind of centered thing. And this one woman who was running for office, she paid them almost $3,000. It's, quote, supposedly for advertising. But she said she was told by her political consultants if she didn't contribute money, they would not print any stories about her at all. So the unions all across the country are having huge drives to get out voters and stuff. And I know that because I know some people are working in it. And apparently this newsletter froze them off. They're not putting their messages out. They're not putting out their press releases. They've cut them off. And basically they told the unions, you either pay us or we're not covering you. But they're writing about themselves as if we're the open and honest and unfiltered politics in Florida. So trust me, when you're in a campaign, that becomes a tough situation to be caught in. And that was just published. NPR did a long article on it late last night, I think, is when I read about it. But that's really sleazy politics. I mean, it's one thing if they post things your candidates do that are really great on page 16 in the old newspaper days because they didn't like your candidate. So your people who are interested in you know to go to page 16. But if they're blocking it completely, and they're saying, well, Twitter, now known as X, charges people to use their forum. So why shouldn't they? And you could have good, even content and pull in advertisers, but that's the hard way. We're just going to blackmail people after they built this reputation of being an open and honest forum. So,
yeah,
Fox News in disguise.
I wish I could remember. I was listening to some podcast. It was a news interview, but I wish I could remember where because I only caught it briefly. But there was a 19-year-old kid that ran for an office and won because he got so fed up. It had to do with guns and everything, and he's inspiring other young ones with podcasts and whatnot to try to get them involved.
Right.
19, he won an office seat wherever it was, but he won.
We've had them almost young in city council at times when they got frustrated, or we had a kid who ran for the school board and he was still in the schools. Who better to know? You know? So, yeah, and there's a group that's run by the guy named Chi who's out of California. He's 21 now, so he's not a little kid anymore. But look at Frost, the one who won in Florida, who was a year out of that school when it got shot up. And there's who's the dark-haired kid that was part of that group in Florida? He runs a group that tells people how to run. And it really is a matter of someone has to sit you down and say, these are the mechanics. This is how you run.
Yeah.
And you have to have the will to do it.
David Hogg? Is that who
David Hogg. Yeah. If you Google David Hogg, it can take you it will take you to his site and where it is and what they're doing.
Yeah, a lot of those great young Gen Zers going to town. I was following Virginia politics quite a bit, and they were doing that run for something campaign and whatever because they had a lot of seats that were never for the state houses and whatnot. There, no Democrats won because they just figured they wouldn't have a chance, so they never ran. But they've been filling these seats with people to get the vote out and make a change. So like I said it before, watch Virginia. It'll be a big test in November.
That's true.
But
I think they're running somebody in every race. I don't think there's one they've missed.
This is true. Like we see the big craze now. Can't forget the Taylor Swift factor. She's getting young people.
That's true.
Young people voting and signed up. A lot of people. She's been pushing people to go to vote.org and register. She's more powerful than any Charlie Kirk whack job.
She's got more followers than Fox News.
She makes more money than the NFL. Brings the economy in the NFL. David Hogg just moved the organization to Washington, D.C. Okay. Okay. I guess we can get rid of all these. Some of these we don't need. Ooh, do we want to look at more crazy people?
Yeah, why not? Oh, I don't know that I'm ready for that crazy. I'm going to get my clown deck. I'm going to get
the clown
1930s deck. Cartoon deck because
crazy talk about Gates coming out here. Oh, which one I should use? Okay, this one. Ethics, and sounds like they want to Cawthorn him.
Yeah, well, Cawthorned himself.
Okay.
Somebody hack his phone and get those pictures and publish them. The ones he used to show on the floor of him and his little teenage conquests.
Yeah, we are sick of that music mansion. But they populate the news, try to understand how we can get balance. One part of the balance is getting rid of some of these people, make them irrelevant.
Okay, oh, the House of it. I don't think they're gonna. I think they're gonna act like they're doing it, so it looks like they're doing something. But I got the Tower reversed, and I got the Four of Wands. Wait a minute, Four of Wands reversed, but it was two cards stuck together. It's not a false fight. There are really people in the party that want to get rid of him, but they're just kind of howling at the moon. And the two out cards, which is in the future, is it's not lined up for completion. The world means completion. It means the end. And there's something about they want to keep him trapped. That's the Eight of Swords. They want to keep him imprisoned.
Yeah, there's a completion, but I'm not seeing an eviction.
No. It looks like it makes Republicans the if you can call them normal, but what passes for normal in their party now, or more middle of the road, they can say, but we did this. There just wasn't the support that gives them something to say to their camp constituents when they go home. And I don't know.
It feels like they're gonna let it play out by speaking about it. Cause the chaos, because what he's done is caused chaos to the Republican Party.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, I think they're gonna just let this leak out, cause some. Gates has caused them stress, the infighting, but with my Endure card here, it feels like the information they have on him. So it's kind of like, what do you call it? They're going to let this compromise they've always known about leak out about him and let it see how it plays out to shut him up.
Well, if they can't get rid of Santos, who stands there and says, yeah, I lie. Yeah, right. I don't use my name.
They want the power. They want to keep the advantage, but they're just going to let it play out to him because they're kind of sick of him. So, yeah, there will be some kind of completion. And so I have the world card too. So here's some changes, karmic changes. There's going to be some dark times for him. Just a little bit of patience. It'll all work out the way it's supposed to. So I think they're just going to, I'm trying to think of the word.
Stall it out. It's not that far.
Yeah, they're going to stall it, but drip the information on him, call him out, and just let it play out, but not evict him.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, he goes right back to Trump. And the other thing that flashed through my brain, and I read on it, so I'm cheating on you, Scott. I'm not giving you questions. But I asked, are the moderates that will push this to cover themselves but not push it to throw them out? Does this have to do with the illegal campaign contributions from the Russians and from foreign sources? And I got, they don't want to come in from the cold and tell the truth. They're scared of this. They've got the Three of Swords. It really affects them. They want to keep that fact under wraps, and that's what Trump has on them. He could just flip it over on them in 2 seconds. They don't want to end up having to cry over spilt milk and confess to what they've done, and they don't want to lose their seats. They're gonna try and look like they're controlling Matt Gaetz, because that's what people are like saying in the home districts. Why aren't you doing that? Yes, it is already starting to leak, but
I think there's more coming.
Oh yeah. Speaking of,
he his campaign manager, whatever, is doing a deal.
Mm-hmm.
She's admitting to cooperating and admitting that she falsified his records and everything. And when is that? I think we're only on the 9th. It's either 2-3 weeks away. There's another hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Cooperation.
Mm-hmm.
Is it him to leave? what's going on with this cooperation deal in there in March.
Okay.
We already got people flipped on his side. And
Do you want to see if they're going to really throw him out, or it's just going to come to where he
what's going
leaves?
on with this deal? Or is he going to trial? What's going on with Santos?
Okay.
There's a hearing coming up in a couple weeks for him yet.
Okay. I'm going to say, does it look like it's negative for Santos? Because you didn't hear me because I turned my phone off. I've turned my microphone off because my phone rang.
I heard it all. I don't know if I think you missed it.
Oh, okay. Well, it came out somehow then. Okay. Here we go.
Santos.
I got he may be gone. I got 2 10s.
Oh, goody.
They caught him stealing, and he's like, no, don't tell on me. I'm just sort of taking everything and running away. And it tarnished the whole crown of his victory. You know who wants him out? Mitch McConnell. And my 2 last cards are throwing down your burden, getting rid of the 10 of Wands, and he just wants to go home and get out of the pressure that he's under. I think it's going to work.
I think they got him dead to rights. He goes to prison.
Mm-hmm.
All the money, what he did, the cooperation. Here's my prison card, 8 of Swords. It looks like his contacts were around him all flipped. I'm getting the FBI or all investigators got the cooperation they needed from everywhere.
Right.
He's in big trouble. I think he is going to be taking a deal here.
Yep.
He's going to transition out of the house.
Right.
I think it's done. Instead of going to, I think he's taking a deal to quit.
Yep.
Because he's in big time trouble. Okay. Get rid of Gates, get rid of Santos. Who else we got to get rid of to make it even?
4 more. Just pick. How about Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert?
We can get Jack. Get Jack to indict some other congressman, and we got a Democratic House for a year.
Well, Kevin might leave because nobody loves him anymore.
Yeah, that's a weird situation. There was reports he told people he was going to resign, and then a few hours later he went on TV and said, "Oh, I'm not resigning." So he's thinking about it.
Well, he'd have to go back.
Something he said behind the scenes, and he didn't want it to go out.
He'd have to go back to Fresno and look for his cow. So remember his cow that he sued. The cow that he sued when it was on Twitter.
Oh, that was Devin Nunes.
Oh, okay. Well, and then Devin did leave. So
he did leave to run Too Social. Oh yeah, Jimmy. Fun people.
Well, he can be indicted. I'm sure he could be indicted for lots of things, but I'm taking it. You mean something like within the government, like January 6th?
Yeah, Liz Cheney is ripping on him. Speaking yesterday at some event. No, I don't see Kevin McCarthy running for Senate. That was immediate pop. I don't think so. The detective AG keep is.
That's Paxton. He's now on a vengeance tour. Paxton is against everybody who try to get him impeached.
Oh.
None of them are worth wasting your time or your mental energy on, trust me. You should bless the people of Texas and that they gain wisdom. because trying to pray or worry about those guys is not going to be true.
He's going to go down like 45.
Mm-hmm.
Investigations and indictments are going to get him this time. He got out of impeachment, but the feds are going to get him.
Oh, poor Jim Jordan. He's got the Queen of Cups, someone with good instincts, and that thinking. What my question was: is he going to get indicted? And then I see the Queen of Cups. I mean, the Ace of Pentacles. He doesn't have enough money or juice to buy his way out of this one, and then he's got the King of Cups on his case, which is Biden, and the Queen of Pentacles, which is on his case. And then we have, this is really the Ace of Wands. It's the sad squirrel. He wants to go bam, bam on somebody. So it's going to bam, bam on him. That's a yes for him being indicted.
Indicted.
I didn't say what he was indicted for. And I mean, he's got a plethora of things.
I'm not sure if it's indicted. My indicted card didn't come out, but I have paperwork coming out on him. Could be subpoena or something, or I think like special counsel may have him
have to come in and talk.
Testify. I think it feels more like a subpoena, but his world's going to be shaken up because he has to testify. Good. Because of that. So his world is going to change. He's going to have an offer and give up evidence. Wheel of Fortune, Page of Coins, and Nine of Coins to stay balanced in his life. And then I had the King of Cups, King of Wands, and then the Five of Wands between it. So there's some obstacles coming in life with leadership. So he may lose leadership, or it could be some kind of resignation, possibly. But this is more about losing his energy and his relevance, because he has male figures pushing him a certain direction. So my toss doesn't show, like getting locked up or indicted. But it could be like a proffer or something, and then they decide, you tell us everything, we won't indict you. That kind of feeling. And I think he takes the offer, but it ruins his career because he flipped on MAGA. That kind of feeling.
Yes, it's nice to tell on your friends. You get to have like a whole party of ex-spouses.
It feels like he was pushing the whole, the January 6th stuff, helping out, but he may not have been a mastermind. He may have just been setting up things, helping in the backside with contacts, but it was like one of those things that's like borderline of criminal, the way it feels to me. But Lord knows I'd love to see him part of that conspiracy, but not everyone. Well, it's like there was reports about the January 6th and the 1,000 people they've indicted already, whatever. They chose not to go after everybody because it didn't rise to the level. They didn't go in. They didn't go in. They're not prosecuting them.
If they didn't go through I know, if they didn't break in the space.
It's just too much, even though they may have been ruly or part of it, but it just wasn't worth going after the other 9,000. Concentrating on the real stiff criminals. Liz Cheney's doing a great job lobbying your former colleagues to get rid of Kevin and not vote Jim. No, you want to look at the speaker?
Sure.
Right now, they're only putting up Scalise and Jordan.
Yeah, but they can't. Their party really can't stand another 15 vote extravaganza, especially because the Democrats figured out how popular it is to come in with boxes of popcorn and sit in the back and chew on it. So
The planners, I think Jack Smith is waiting on that. Earth Mama, the planners, the J6, all the
yeah,
uninvited ones. He wanted to get 45 done. Get that.
yeah, he didn't want to complicate it with the whole party saying, "Look, they're after all of us." They're just saying he was at the top. Now, once they prove he was at the top, then they're going to say all these folks talked to him. So
There's more coming. They still investigating, so it's like they let Fannie Willis do her thing with those guys, and then the feds are going to come in and get them later.
So are we reading on it that if you want to shoot someone in the face, you should hire a Cheney, or are we reading on that they won't, that between Kevin and Jim Jordan, between Scalise and Jordan, they won't pick one. It'll be somebody else. Which question? There's so many ways to attack this silliness.
Yeah. Paper says Political has an article that's saying they should just reinstate McCarthy to help with the Israel. Politics. Okay. Electing.
I'm going to ask if it's going to be someone other than Jordan or Scalise.
It sure looks like more chaos. 50
Yeah.
round votes and da da da.
I got a yes, but it's a mixed yes. They need someone in that position desperately. They need them to come in from the cold. And there's enormous anxiety within the party about what to do. They want to plant a crop, but they're just not sure which seed's going to take it. And there's the kitty caucus is causing all kinds of chaos around them. And this is normally the card of the person who knows how to do their job. They just don't know how to do their job.
Obvious.
They don't even know what they're there for. If we had to declare war right now, we couldn't.
Weird.
Mm-hmm.
I got female energy again. I don't know why, because Jeffries would be the other logical choice. Just to get some moderates and work a deal. Or maybe like Pelosi is actually talking behind the scenes to help. Maybe that's the energy.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have like a Queen of Cups reaching out to help with the Three of Wands, and then Knight of Cups comes in, and then the Six of Cups with redoing the past. Well, the Knight could be Jeffries.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Pelosi's talking to these moderate Republicans behind the scenes saying, we need to stop the nonsense, let's do something.
Yeah, we're facing a war in a part of the world that we can't really.
But it doesn't show. I don't sense anything about these others. Scalise.
Okay. We were right about the person they picked for the Senate from California, though. We saw a dark-haired woman that was a lawyer.
Yeah, or someone that was a teacher or smart.
Yeah,
I got a Queen of Swords, so as a woman of leadership and power.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, never knew who she was, but she was also connected to politics and
oh yeah, to both
Feinstein
and Kamala
Harris. She was connected to Kamala Harris and whatnot. So yeah. But I had the power of the Democrats coming in. Nine of Cups is my Democrat card.
I'm going to ask if because of the conditions we're in, they're going to come up with a coalition government with Hakeem.
It's what it sure feels like.
Mm-hmm.
Ace of Cups, 10 of Cups, 3 of Pentacles together is working on an agreement, and then some kind of paperwork that comes in and says this is what we're going to do together.
Yep, I got a yes and a no, and I think they're putting parameters on it. What you got?
That's what I just showed.
Okay, because what I've got is the Page of Swords. They don't trust any of the people who are speaking to them. It's not what any of them want. The Democrats don't want to have to go along with this other, but it's got the Two of Pentacles. They've got to get some balance back. And the House is Ten of Pentacles, right side up or upside down. It means the established group is there, and it needs, that's what supports this. And then what I got is the Two of Cups. So that they may strike a coalition government. I've heard a lot of readers saying, I don't understand how we get there, but it almost feels like a parliamentary coalition government.
You just rotate with who leads up the different. It's kind of like how they did in the Senate. Just make it a 50-50 and you stop. Well, just eliminate the crazy.
I liked it when the Republicans got out and they said, the Democrats did this to us. No, if your whole party had voted together, they wouldn't have thrown Kevin out. They threw Kevin. I mean, they aren't going to vote for Kevin.
Yeah, I know. It seems like they just take the taxpayers' money and do nothing and get reelected. That's all they care about.
It used to be that they had to deliver to their constituents. You kind of wonder where their constituents are. I mean, I live in a district where we have a Democratic congressman. Fortunately, we have bizarrely retarded senators, but they really don't understand the whole concept of government, but then neither do a lot of Americans. And it's, my two kids that are in their 40s, they never had a decent civics class. They knew civics because they knew what I knew.
Worked out in culture in Japan. You remember this?
Yes, when he was over there
with South Korea, right, and Japan leaders, and we came together. Yeah, I think it's all about protecting Taiwan.
It's protecting Taiwan and protecting trade because they know they're toast if Taiwan goes. So.
Yeah, that's what I just heard. Is I think it has to do with protecting the region from any aggression from China. Staying on top of things in that area. Let's see what the Kipper says. Official person, we got Biden. Why women? High honor. This one, I don't know why females are coming up. Is there a female at least?
We hold up half the sky.
What's that?
Because women hold up half the sky.
Well,
that's
true. We like women. We love women.
They have women leaders. They have women leaders over there too.
There's some leader that's a woman over there. I remember. Well, South Korea and Japan, I'm pretty sure they're men. But they're just making a pact to protect the woman leader, or maybe maybe the woman is Taiwan here. Just want to stay in the high honor and mature about everything and make sure we don't have another war going on over there and conflicts. Yeah, just got a main female, whatever that means. If there's Taiwan has I'm not sure who leads Taiwan. But there are women leaders, so.
I know. They let us in. They took down their boys only sign.
The heck? I'm trying to remember what I was reading. Are you done tossing?
Yeah, okay. I'm done.
Can't remember what I was listening to, but it was some kind of position or whatever. They're talking about, oh, that's what I was talking to my meat cutter guy, the head guy that he kind of runs a store, the meat and hiring, firing.
Mhm.
He was saying, he goes, the last few years, I've been evaluating, like who stays, who works, who's, you know, he knows people so well he can tell who's just gonna come and then leave
Mhm.
with it, right? And
Right.
he goes, women are so much better workers than men. He goes, these men that come here and work now, try to work now, they're such flakes. Then I got all these lovely women and they do their job well and articulately and they do it right.
Mhm.
He goes, I swear these men, the men nowadays are just flakes. He goes,
Well, they think they deserve a living. That's what they're told. From the time they're tiny. You've got the right anatomy. The world's going to hand you everything. And then they find out it's more than anatomical. And I usually put that in a different way, but I wanted to be polite. It's Sunday morning.
yeah, he's got a lot of um, older gentlemen,
Mm-hmm.
no young men. The
Mm-hmm.
mid-20 ladies, they do great work.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they didn't go to college, but I don't know the background, but he says he's very happy with them and treat him well, and they'll stick around. But he goes, every one of these boys that come in, they do it for a few days and they expect to get $5 raise, and he goes, no, that's not how it works, and they walk. They walk.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, the way it is, if they don't stay, they don't stay.
You're in a union state. Are your meat people union?
No,
Okay.
it's all this local grocery stores. It's not that isn't that way. No, it's all like I want to say owned by certain people, not union. Oh, I know, right? This is horrible. It's, it's so frustrating what these Republican men are doing to women,
Mm-hmm.
and they think it's okay. Unbelievable. The
Well,
youth and women will continue to come out and take it for 2024. Guarantee
yep,
it. There's if we'll know everything Virginia. Virginia is going to be a test in a few weeks.
that's right.
If Democrats come out winning on over the average, we know we're good. Damn straight, women do it better.
I have a friend. I have a client, and I'm a mentor to her. She calls me about business situations and stuff, and she was extremely frustrated one night. She goes, why do they keep getting away from this? And I said, look down. She said, what do you mean? I said, look down. And she said, okay, I'm looking at my lap. I said, what do they have that you don't? And that's why they get away with everything. And but what she decided after that was if she can't cut that off, but she could cut them out. And she's gotten very cozy with the guy who runs the company. She's gotten 5 of them fired for incompetence.
Yeah, it just seems some of the youth just don't want to work. The ethic is way off.
Well, we raised strong women and we raised women to understand there'd be challenges. But I worked really hard on my sons to try and raise them to try and, accept those differences. And they are, at least, well, apparently they want to keep talking to their mother because they're always enlightened when they talk to me. But um, they see it too. One of my sons runs an organization and he's so much happier when he can hire women in because they work harder and he pays them just what he would pay anybody else that would go in that position. He doesn't do that bargain rate thing.
Well said the queen. If they had him, I would be king.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, personal transformation. Really appreciate it.
And Laura, thank you for the donations.
Mm-hmm.
Any of those three you want to finish on? Oh, we did that one.
Okay.
Liz, read on Liz Cheney's future.
That's really cloudy, but we can read on it.
I don't want it. We read enough negativity. Let's just finish with this one then. And then cards for the week and energy. Oh, you wanted to talk about the supermoon or the?
No, we're having a solar eclipse next Saturday, and it starts where I live at 11:10 Central Daylight Time, and it ends a little bit before 1. It's not a complete solar eclipse because of where the moon is placed, so it's what they call the Ring of Fire. And if you live down where I live, we're going to have a wonderful chance to see it. It starts like in California and swoops across the Southwest and comes on Texas. But if you really want to see whether you'll be able to see much of it where you live, go to NOAA, NOAA, or go to NASA. They both have big articles about it and times and how it all works. And I always think eclipses are kind of fun. They're not really fun if you're in Afghanistan. Apparently overnight they had a horrible earthquake that has already killed thousands. It was in the western part. 6.3 impact was the number on the scale, and they said it came through at least 4 times. And that's an area where everything's been built out of mud. They're mud houses, and so they just crumble into sand. And because they have a policy, women can't leave their homes. Guess who got trapped in it? That's really the truth. The men were all standing outside saying, "We can't get them out." Shouldn't have put them in there in the first place, dummies. But anyway, it's a horrible thing, and that's a lot of the lunar pull. We're getting a lot of strong lunar pulls, and this is the last time. And I'm sure the astrologers are going to pipe in at the end. But this is the last time we have eclipses in the signs that have to do with money, and so it's interesting. So is Liz Cheney working behind the scenes?
I believe she's being honest.
Mm-hmm.
January 6th here really hit her hard.
Mm-hmm.
The chaos and all the pain it put people through and the possibility of being murdered. She's willing to sacrifice people that are insurrectionists, like Jordan, like McCarthy, anyone that was complicit in this whole thing. And if it takes removing some GOP, she's willing to call it out. I believe she wants a better place in the House, whether it's her ideology or whatever. Whoever will support the Constitution. She wants positive working leaders. Root out the devil. She wants complete change in the House. Better. The House, the world, and the Two of Pentacles. More sharing, better communication and talk. We all know she had her ideology and voted with the Republicans 90% of the time, but
well, if you were the child of Darth Vader, you would too.
But yeah, I got the 10 of Cups representing the House, 5 of Cups, and Knight of Swords. That's where I get the feeling it's like, even if it ruins the GOP in the House and not the leadership, as long as there's good people in there. She's going to decapitate anyone that was an insurrectionist. At least she's doing the right thing. 96%, close enough.
I got the 7 of Wands. She's persevering. I got that she's willing to be the provider of emotional support for people that want to change. This is her. She's a supporter of generosity and security. She says, as long as you speak truthfully, she'll support you. It's not hard for her to do this. It's not depressing for her to handle this. But she has future plans. She's got the 3 of Wands. She's got future plans. So, yeah, she wants to get them out of the way because But I think the brand on the party is so ruined. I'm not sure, especially they've lost the kids my age, and my kids spread from 48 to 33. And but I don't know. I mean, we take them as they come, but that's why putting a third party together would be so difficult, because if they're frustrated with how the Democrats run things, they're not going to be ideologically close to Republicans. If their Republicans are frustrated, they're not going to want to really get together with Democrats. And I really wish they would quit treating the public like it's stupid and the great unwashed, because I think when you really talk to the people and what they see on the ground is when you get the greatest truth. But it's a matter of doing that, talking to them.
Yeah, I know. The voting record isn't great, but we got to give her some props.
Yeah, no, she stood up when we wanted her to stand up, so you can't fault her for that. I mean, she just sees the world in a slightly different way than we do, more than slightly, but at least if it's me. But
it's better than not saying anything at all, like some of these people is.
Yes.
Ran in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
You mouse. I'm just retiring and blah blah blah.
I need to go spend more time with my family.
Right.
So I'm looking.
Bring out some inspiration.
Okay, I've got a new deck. I got a Halloween deck. I get a new deck every Halloween. And I got the Witching Hour Oracle. And I played with it a little bit yesterday because I was feeling very lazy and like I didn't want to do my taxes.
Yeah.
I've got all the numbers together. It's just stupid. It's just having been a tax accountant so long. But
I don't know why. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because there's some people that need to hear it, struggling and not getting it. But in all these positive reads lately, I've been getting the Three of Swords often. I think the last 3 lives I've been involved in, I've gotten that Three of Swords, the Three of Winter. It's like,
well, it is a painful time.
You're right.
It's hard painful to watch all this shit go on.
And it always talks about release with that Three of Swords and painful time, reaching out for others and comfort and love. And that sadness will heal in time, but we need to, release that and release. Eight of Wands is talking about releasing that stress and positive energy. And then doing good things, the universe will reciprocate that. So I think it has to do with, keeping yourself more balanced, so you don't stay in the stuck zone, because when you're happier and full of love and reaching out to other souls, you get more return from the universe.
Right. Because that's what's on the middle of your forehead, and that's what you're going to attract. It says good times here.
Okay. So there might be someone in the comments or whatever just not quite getting it, not letting go, and needed to hear it, I guess.
Well, people like assurance. So do I. But I really like this assurance. This is a card I pulled. It's called Dance. Freedom, liberation, self-expression, rapture, and euphoria. Dance is one of the most natural forms of expressions where humans have interwoven song and dance into ritual and celebrations for years. Music and dance connect people from all walks of life. Two people from opposite, we were talking about how do you get people together, two people from opposite backgrounds can enjoy the dance to do that. Only euphoria, bliss, and sacred liberation. This card danced your way into your spread to guide us towards finding bliss through our own self-expression, bravery, breaking away from the need to be perfect or put together. Self-expression isn't about finding flawlessness. It's about giving your soul a chance to spread. I think I'm going to stop it with that, because I think that's the best message. That was my card for our next week.
Beautiful.
Journal. Go look at the moon. Go look at the
The
eclipse.
glasses.
Get glasses. They're super cheap, and if you live in a place where Amazon delivers well, you get them. And I mean, I ordered them one day because I saw them, and I had them at my door that night. So you got plenty of time to get them.
Yeah. So Steve, yeah, we looked at Jordan already. It feels like another S show. 15 rounds, and actually, it felt like, to me, it felt like maybe Pelosi and Jeffries are working behind the scenes to try to do a coalition type and have Jeffries as speaker.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Scalise or Jordan are gonna. Jordan's another insurrectionist. They don't.
Yeah. Well,
They don't want
Scalise
more
wasn't far behind, but Scalise, guys, I have a friend who has been through cancer treatment. They're coming out of it now, and she had 3 or 4 days, and she's a really strong woman. She had 3 or 4 days during that treatment that she was on steroids. She couldn't sleep, and she was exhausted all the time. And that's not who she is. I've known her for years. That's not who she is. And she's now a month out of treatment and doing really well, and all the tests are showing things look great. But she said I don't know how anyone who is in that kind of treatment, she had to kind of stop what she was working on and just sit in a chair.
Yeah, especially blood cancer. He cannot be feeling that great to be taking on that responsibility.
No. And we need, and if we elect someone, if they bring someone in to be speaker, we want to know they're really the speaker instead of some person that gets set up behind the scenes to run everything for them.
Yeah.
All they have to do is hand them the paper and say, sign it.
They're gonna change. You're gonna have to change those rules.
Mm-hmm.
Vacate. I really think that most of the sane Republicans want to stop this nonsense with the Freedom Caucus, MAGA 8. So there's gonna be changes, and it's, like I said, it's gonna be another 501s for a while until something gets straightened out.
Yeah, they're just sitting in there, a bunch of adolescents beating each other up with sticks.
Getting paid to do nothing but fight.
Yeah, Evelyn, then you know what I'm talking about. And you just bless them and try to hold on to them and give them whatever strength you can to make it through the days that are bad, and applaud with them and talk to them in the days that they feel good.
Okay. Love and light, everyone. Thanks for joining us, and I hope your day is spectacular too.
Yes, and I hope your weather's getting wonderful.
Yeah, all around.
Okay. Take care, everybody.